I hope. Sorry it's late. Been right pulled out recently, honestly. Not enough hours in a day, so been working a lot of stuff to sort out at home, so delayed review. Good result, wasn't it? I know. Shouldn't be going there and thinking it's a good result, but that's where we are, isn't it? We've got no wins under his belt, so first point's a good point, however you get it. That's the way I'm looking at it. Especially because before game, we can talk about folks being too pessimistic and this and that other, but we'd not won any games. We'd not won a league game. We'd not won a league point. So while people's pessimistic attitude and I was talking to folks in week who were saying as long as we could keep it down to 2, so I think it's got to be seen as a good result. Tom Bowler were out a bit again, I think, with team selection. Vasquez in goal. Back 3. Bernard, Diaby, Firmino. Wing backs, Patterson on right, Delgado on left. A midfield 2 of Byers and Bannon. Well, actually, that's not strictly speaking to it. More like a midfield 3 of Byers, Bannon and Gregory. And Smith up front with Windass and supposedly, I think. Well, I'm saying supposedly because he didn't really spend a lot of time up there. It was sort of, to me, it was like Bannon left, Byers right centred and Gregory right centred, if you know what I mean. More like a sort of a 3-6-1-1, I don't, but whatever, we got a point, and I think we've got to be happy with a point. And they were a decent side, actually. I know they've not been having best of times at it themselves, obviously they've come down and what have you, but they played some decent football. A kid really impressed me for them, that Ampadu. I think they got him from Chelsea. I do remember his name. But in Europeans at World Cup, I've heard his name. Really good on ball, always available for man. Really good passing. Just keeps it moving, plays it out both sides. And of course, a good midfield ball passer looks better if he's got movement around him. And I think what made him look even better is they'd got 2 wingers, Somerville on one side and I forget the name of kid on the other side, was it Notto, something like that. 2 wingers that were always on the bike. They caused a lot of problems all afternoon. But for me, that Ampadu, he was, I thought he was top draw. And he's only a young lad, I think he's only about 22, so really good signing for them. But it shows the quality at the top end of this division, because he's a fantastic player. No players like that in League One where we've just come from, so he was a terrific player. But I thought, in a way, when you look at the quality of player like that and them 2 wide lads, I think it shows how well that Wednesday did, because for all we weren't a great attacking force, I thought we were really resolute, worked the socks off. I thought we got a really good shape defensively, including Gregory almost playing at centre at Park. And I thought we were fully deserving at point. We got head on things, got a foot in on things, brave. Chisco's gone to this 3 at back. I think he wanted to play a 4 like Darren Moore did, but he's obviously had to sack that off to a certain extent. I know there's a school of thought that you always play 3 at back if you don't trust 2 of your centre halves to make a pair, but I think it worked in this instance because they'd got so much drive in wide areas with his Somerville and Notto, and they did beat our wing backs because they were really good players, really good dribblers at ball, loads of pace, something we're sadly lacking at top end at Park. But that's the old thing. Your first rule as a defender is, can you stop the cross? If you can't stop the cross, you've got to deal with a cross, and I think that's where 3 at backs really come in, because they did get in behind us at times, but when ball come in box, delivery come in box, we won headers, we won tackles, we got blocks in, we got first contact and got it hacked away. So not the prettiest offensively from Wednesday, but I thought they worked their socks off and I thought they were worthy of clean sheet. For all their talent, their probably best opportunity come after about 10 minutes in first half with Vasquez with an absolute suicide pass out from back. I'm not sure. I think he's mishit it. He must have mishit it, because if he meant it, then he must be a lunatic. So I can only presume he's missed it. It took his eye off ball at last second or whatever. Short pass into midfield, cut out, and it could have been very bad news for us, that. But I must say that I thought Vasquez had a really good game. 2 really good saves from close quarters, just either side of half time. And one of them was a fantastic reflex. He'd come out to narrow angle, and as he were going down to the left, kid shot across him and he just shot his right hand up on it with a fantastic reflex save. And when you've gone away from home to a local rival and got a clean sheet like we have, I think he'd probably be my man of the match, to be honest with you, overall. But there were a lot of good Wednesday performances. I like Bernard. I thought he was looking like he was growing into the team. Diaby, I still got a little bit to do to win me over. For me, Iofa would be in there. I don't really think Iofa's put a foot wrong this season, really. There was a bit where Diaby got muscled off ball by a kid who was about 4 stone lighter than him, which I was a bit shocked with that. But yeah, Bernard good. Firmino looks a lot more comfortable at left-sided centre half. Like I said, it was a resolute display from Wednesday. Delgado picked up another yellow card with a stupid tackle. He did stupid tackle. He got no chance of winning ball. Ball was already going. I don't think it was particularly nasty, but it was impetuous. And it's got him on a yellow card then in a game when you're up against an absolute flying winger. That's Somerville, I think he's Dutch. Absolutely rapid and runs at players for fun. He's one of them kids who clearly plays like he's in schoolyard. He just wants to get ball and run at people. The last thing you'll need when you're up against a player like that is a bloody yellow card hanging over it. And it's not the first time. He picked up a booking at Cardiff for a Mardias's kick out, and that's 2 in 2 games. In fact, that's the reason he had to be subbed at Cardiff, because he were on a booking. They brought that Tanner kid on right wing who was an absolute flyer, and he had to bring him off. And that's when a player's temperament is forcing a manager's hand into the substitutions he's having to make. You can't stand that for too long. So he's got to sort that out, because if he keeps doing that week in, week out, there's a red card on the horizon for him. Absolutely no danger of that. There's a red card on the horizon. I don't know if it's partly frustration, because obviously he's playing at left-hand side and he's dominantly right-footed. Which is alright if you're cutting inside your man and getting little 1-2s going and whatever, but from a defensive point of view, you're playing against a right winger who's rapid like that, and he's going on outside here on your weaker foot. So I don't know if that were playing a bit of a part with him, but he's seriously got to cut that out of his game. Like I said, they dominated ball really. That, as I said, that Ampadu, absolute quality player. Involved in everything good that they did. Always available to back four, always available to full back. Even when wingers were dipping inside, he was in there and supporting them. Quality player. And yet we came out second half, and I thought that was probably Wednesday's best little spell. They had a spell maybe 5-10 minutes to go, but after half time we had a couple of little half chances. Smith got in. He took down a good ball over the top actually. But the angle was against him. He was just a bit wide, at narrow angle. Their keeper made a smart save with his legs. And equally Vasquez, he's done the same. Their lad got in from a tight angle. Think about that, Jovino, another smart save. And then Windass had one as well, and again, it was sort of inside right channel into the box, and it's just angles were against him. And whilst I know a lot of people, we shouldn't be going there and hoping for a draw, you've got to take points where you can. And it's a good result for me. The one thing that, we defended really well. I thought good shape defensively. But when you're playing at this level and that's your game plan, and I've got no problem with that game plan if it's successful, because to me success this season, I think people have got different ideas of what success will be this season. Chansiri thinks success will be top 6. Start raving mad, that is. No chance. But to me success this season will be staying up. Because every season we were down in 3rd division, it was costing us an extra 7 million on top. We lost revenue, so success to me is finishing 4th from bottom. And if we have to play this way to get points, so be it. We're not going to go out and dominate teams and play lovely flowing football and batter them like we could do last season at times. So we're going to have to get used to that. And I think a point at Elland Road has been a really good result. Like I said, dominated middle at Park, they did. And 2 flying machines down flank. Middle at Park. Bannon, again, probably our best creative player in terms of balls that he can play from there. I'm glad Cisco has binned off that experiment of playing him as a number 10, which was a lunacy. But to be fair to him, they all try it at some stage. Good to see George Byers back. Little bit of a waste for me, because I see George Byers as a nice footballer who keeps things moving, and he was doing that, trying to do that when we'd got ball. But because of the way we were set up and it was like a defensive game plan, he would having to do other side of the game, and I was really impressed with the number of tackles George Byers put in. I mean, I ain't got any stats or anything like that, but I bet he'd be right up there, because he just seemed to be getting a vital foot in and a vital interception all through that game. And that's the other side of him, because he's a tenacious character. He might not be strongest tackling in the world, but there's a real tenacity to him. Midfield, that Gregory situation, I've got a thing about that. I think that's what the new lads have come in for, to play that role. As I said, somebody sent me one of them heat maps, and it backed up what I thought when I was watching the game. Was that Ampadu were dominating the ball at middle at Park for them. Wednesday really were trying to get in round the sides, the right hand side especially so. And I've seen a lot of criticism of Callum Patterson after the game about the number of times to give the ball away, but my counter argument to that would be is he probably saw more at ball than anyone else. If you have 100 touches and somebody else has 5 touches, you're statistically going to give ball away more than they are. So it's going to look like, when people look back at it again, he seemed to get ball away a lot. But what else did he do? I thought he'd give us a real forward momentum down that side. He went up and down. That winger gave him an hard time. But, let's not hide from that fact. That was it. Not always something they called. He was a player, him. Massive thighs, like tree trunks. But he could go on inside, outside, really quick. But I thought Pato stuck to task against him, and like I said, I thought he'd give us a lot of width down that side, and a lot of our stuff came down that side when we did get them sort of rare opportunities to get forward. He had a sort of half chance. Delgado cut inside, which, well, of course he's going to cut inside. We ain't got a left footed out there, have we? He cut inside and clipped one in. Smith got his eyebrows on it. Pato was sliding in at back like Gary Lineker, but just couldn't quite get out end of it. And I think that's the one thing this season that will cost us is that if we set up in this defensive mentality, and it's got us a point and a clean sheet, so there's every reason to think that we might do, your opportunities are going to be scarcer, and when that happens, you've got to make sure you've got somebody up there who's burying chances when they do come. And I think that's the one area where we're a bit short. I think Windass will nick goals. I'm not sure centre forwards will nick many goals because of them being isolated up there. But all through teams, when people get them opportunities, like that one when Pato burst in, one later when Windass got sent away by Fletcher, you've got to be hoping they go in if you're going to have any chance to win games when you're playing this sort of defensive style. They had a glorious chance right at the end to win it, and I think they caught lad Jorginho. He got lofted through. Glorious opportunity, and he just sort of side-footed it at Vasquez. He couldn't have put it in a better place for him. He's either got to lace it, drill it hard and low. He can probably lob him because he's off his line, and he just side-footed it, thank God, sort of straight into his midriff, and then sat on the floor as if it was somebody else's fault, sort of waving his arms about. I don't know what about. But overall, I thought Wednesday fully deserved the clean sheet, fully deserved the result. So I know some people will be saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be celebrating a 0-0," but it's going to be a tough season. We defended really resolutely, got head on things, got a block in, got a foot in. They worked really hard all over at Park, all through midfield. Centre forwards were tireless in the work, and it's an hard job that. But, when you're a striker and you know that you're just going to be running your blood to atter for 90 minutes and probably not going to get much of a sniff, that takes a bit of strong willpower and mentality. But I'm glad with that point. And I know, we should be going out to win, but there's not going to be easy games in this division. Wednesday aren't going to go out and dominate teams in the way that we'd probably like to. So, good point for me, and I'm glad we got it before this international break. I'm really glad, because if we'd gone into this with just league defeats, gone into this 12 days off, we are out on board, I think that would have been a real blow. So I'm glad we've got it going into this break, and now Cisco's then got 12 days to work with the players before Ipswich, and a clean sheet too. We got loads of them last season, and the bedrock of any opportunity you're going to get to get a point or 3 points. If you're keeping clean sheets, you're halfway there. It's old cliche, but it's true. You start every game with a point available on board. You know what I mean? If things stay the same, you're in. 12 days to work with players now. I feel a lot more optimistic than I did before game. And obviously we've got a couple of players in of that line, John Buckley and Jeff Hendrick. Now, I don't know much about Buckley, I'll be honest with you. We've been at third division for 2 years, so you tend to focus on the division you're in, don't you? But I was well aware of Hendrick because I can remember him bursting through on the scene at Derby when he was younger. I've been really impressed with him down there, and obviously he then got his move to Burnley. A lot of games he's played in Championship, a lot of games he's played in Premier League. He's 31, loads of experience. Can get a foot in, but scores goals from midfield. And I do wonder if that might be one of the reasons why we've brought him in. To me, and I can see it happening, I think Hendrick, or possibly even Buckley, I think we'll see them playing in that role that Gregory's been playing the last couple of games. Cisco obviously wanted to come in and play forward at back, as did Darren Moore. But you assess your squad, you look at it, you try a few things, and if it's not working, it's not working, and it is a results business. And sometimes you've got to bend your own will a little bit. You know, you've got ideas what you want. I'd like to do this, playing this way in this system, and sometimes you've got to do what's required to get a result. So he's gone with his 5 at back. I don't think he particularly wants to do it. I don't think we particularly want to see it. But it's got as a clean sheet, and it's got as a result, and I can see him doing it again, because like I said, Wednesday aren't going to go out and completely dominate teams like we could do last season. We're going to have to defend resolutely, and if that means playing 5 at back and everybody in midfield and up top working the bollocks off for it, and I think we'd all take that, because success is different things to different people. Now, Mr. Chanseri thinks success is top 6, and he might be right, but it's absolute lunacy to think that's achievable with the way things are. To me, success this season, and people can talk about aiming low, to me success this season is finishing 4th from bottom and not going down, because we cannot afford to be in 3rd division. Because every year we're in 3rd division, we're losing between £7 and £8 million in revenue that we'll be getting in Championship. You know, that's 14 million of it last 2 years. We can't be there again. So for me, success would be staying in this division, and if that's 4th from bottom and going away and getting 0-0s or nicking 1-0s, then so be it. So this system that we played at Leeds, this sort of 5-4-1 or whatever you want to call it, got to do it. Got to do what you can do to win points. The only thing is, if you're playing that defensively, like I said, people, when the opportunities do come, have got to take them and put them chances away. And whether that's Patterson on overlap or Delgado, whether it's Bannon or Byers bursting from midfield, or Hendrick or Buckley, as I suspect the case may be, I'm convinced one of them two will play in that role Gregory's been occupying. And they've got to do it, and I think that's something they've got to look at on training ground, is finishing from midfield and midfield players getting in box and practising their finishing, because we're going to need goals from all over Park. We had a good performance. My man at match, I think my man at match would be Vasquez. He made, like I said, there was a horrible passing first half, which I can only presume he'd miss-hit. But 2 brilliant saves from close range. He probably made 3 really good saves in game, but 2 were at point blank. The one that he saved with his right hand was superb. Like I said, I thought Patterson were really good. People are critical of Pato, but I thought he would evolved heavily in that game. And like I said, that heat map probably shows that he was one of the, you know, not the main outlet for Wednesday, but right up there. And they've all worked the socks off. Bannon, Byers has got through some real tackles. And 3 centre halves, you know, unspectacular. Not always brilliant on ball, you know, let's not lie about that. But some real endeavour in there, bravery in there, getting blocks in. Firmao made an absolutely fantastic block on one of their lads just as he were pulling trigger in box, and got his thigh in there and got it away for a throw. That's what we're going to have to do this season, you know. It's not going to be pretty every week. I suggest it's probably not going to be pretty most weeks, but as long as we get them points and as long as we can get out of relegation zone, I would see that as a success. I'd have seen that as a success last season as soon as we got promoted with Dad and Moore. Even if we'd not had all this upheaval in the summer, I'd have still seen staying up as a success. Stepping stones in the right direction. Top 6, Gordon Bennett. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what work he can get done in week. Got these 2 players in, obviously they weren't quick enough to play against Leeds, but so now got a fortnight to work with him, get them integrated into the squad, bringing that little bit of Championship experience and quality in there. And if we can go to Ipswich and, you know, get a result, maybe this is the starting point for the battle for survival. No, I thought he got his subs right. Oh, now I've got to stick up for him. I mean, I offer come on at first. I thought, what's he doing here? But Patterson again into another role further forward. I thought I awful looked good when he come on. I thought he actually he dealt with that kid for pace. The penalty. No, I haven't mentioned that. Do you know what I thought? Fletcher looked quite lively as well. There's one funny thing about him though. Runners like that with arms right up. Have you noticed? Runners with arms right there. It's like, what happened to pump? I'll guarantee if you took him down to Institute of Sport, Ashley Fletcher, and had him with a running coach for 2 hours, he'd look a yard quicker next week just by pumping his arms properly. Just like that, I don't get it. Pump your... Yeah, 2 sugars.